Hello, hello, hello. Okay, friends, if anybody jumps on here in the next couple of minutes, can you just let me know that my sound is good? Because, as we all know, I have trouble with my sound sometimes. Okay, here's hoping the internet, the sound, all the things work. Because every now and then, these technologies do not work in my house. And I have myself set up in a new office now, but I'm clearly not there today. I'm at home. So here's hoping this is all going to work. Anyway, it's amazing to be back here again. It's been a little while, and I now have a baby. I'm not pregnant anymore. It's wonderful. Aurora was born March 10th. Hi, Nicole. Does it sound okay? Hopefully it's good. And, okay, awesome. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. So what I thought I would jump on here and talk to you about this week is a few things. So I want to share just some really fun ways in which coaching, which has been a huge blessing in my life, has totally revolutionized my experience of becoming a mom. And I found this great prompt in my journal. I've shown you guys this beautiful journal that I got through from Bev Aaron at the Deep Dive Coaching Institute. And it's just absolutely so fun to see it and write in it. Hi, Heather. Hi, Christine. It's nice to see all you lovely people here today. Thanks for joining me live. So listen, I've been thinking a lot, and I wrote about this in an email to my list earlier this week. I'm just kind of slowly easing my way back into being in this public space, but I've been thinking a lot about what has been so magical for me about becoming a mom this time around, and what has been so different compared to my last experience. I get it that some things are easier because I know how to do some things that I never knew how to do before. But I really think, thank you so much, Jamie. I appreciate that. I really think a big reason why this has worked so well this time has been because I've learned this incredible thing, which is totally the prompt that just appeared in my journal as I was writing today. So this is what the prompt says. We must recognize that we are the architect of our current reality before we can design the next phase. And I think this is what my journey has been for the last couple of years. I think I've really learned how to become the architect of my life. And when I think about this, I realize that I have never known the world like I know it now. So when I think about like the big scheme of things, what my life is like, what it was like prior to me doing any coaching myself as a coachee, and what it's like now after coaching came into my life, there's a huge difference. And what I have learned is how very much my life is within my control to create and shape and become what I want it to be. And even though not everything in my life is there the way I want it to in, any given moment in time, it is all being very carefully orchestrated and architected by me and my vision now, which was something that was never present in my life prior to doing this work. And so the ways that this has kind of shown up for me that have really struck me a lot in the last week as I've been thinking about this is I was listening back to one of the modules that I do in my coaching program for female physicians. And I had written a letter. We were talking about how we can start to connect with this concept of the future self. And I'm not going to get into that today, but what I had written was this letter about how I envisioned that there was a future life for me that held myself, my husband, and my 2 daughters. And it's so crazy to me. Like, it's really kind of woo-woo and meta, but I'm just like, how insane is this? I wasn't even pregnant at the time. And here I am sitting here on April 30th, 2021, talking to you guys about my 2 freaking daughters. Like, it's really kind of crazy and cool. It's like I somehow knew she was going to be there because I freaking architected this reality. Like, it's really quite cool when I think about this. Okay, Then I think about my business. So as I was approaching the midway through my pregnancy, I started thinking about whether or not I could run another round of my coaching program for female doctors. And I knew I couldn't do it solo. I knew I didn't have the wherewithal anymore with the way I was feeling physically. So I made a decision to welcome some incredible women. One of them is here watching now, Pyle, I saw her. But to welcome some incredible women into this vision that I've had of how I work with female doctors. And I made the decision to do it from a place of making everything as easy as possible for me to have the baby whenever that happened, and to transition into being on maternity leave and being with my family, and to make sure that there wasn't going to be any pressure on me. That was my goal. That was what I wanted. And I can't even begin to tell you how incredible the reality that I have architected is. And at first, when I did this, it was really uncomfortable for me. I was like totally pushing the boundaries of my comfort zone, which I've done time and time again since I started this business. But this was a really big push for me. I didn't see myself as being the CEO. I didn't have a CEO mindset. I didn't see myself as being the leader of this business. I didn't know how it looked. So everything was new for me. Everything was a guessing game. And I was scared shitless I wasn't going to have enough clients to actually keep all these women who had kind of gathered around me and supporting me in my vision. And somehow we blew the launch out of the water. We had 3 times the number of people that we usually have, and we've just completed this incredible group. And now this business has a pulse like it's never had before. Like it is a totally new entity, and it's incredible. And I am so excited about it. Coming back to it with this new, more open, more clear mind that I have now that I'm not pregnant anymore, and I feel so much better. I'm just blown away by what I have architected, right? What I have created through what I've built through having this vision and staying the course. It's pretty freaking cool. Okay, told you we were going to talk about babies. This is seriously so fun to me to talk about. So when I look back at how this has taken shape in my life, okay, I had this idea in my mind about, hi, Allison. I had this idea in my mind about how I wanted my delivery to go. And my last delivery was an incredibly powerful experience for me. It had a long and difficult pregnancy. I had a very long and difficult induction, but the actual delivery, like the time when I started pushing, the actual delivery of my baby was one of the most powerful experiences I have ever had in my life. Probably in part because I had delivered many babies before that, but I felt like I alone was the one driving everything in that moment. It was very instinctual, very intuitive. It was just, I literally tell people my favorite part of my pregnancy was actually pushing my baby out in the first one. And so I had this inkling of what was possible for my delivery. And I had learned a lot about my body from the first time around. And so in my mind, I decided to, again, become the architect of my reality. As I was approaching my delivery, I knew I was going to be induced, and I was going to be induced even earlier than I was the last time. And so it spoke to my OB, I spoke to my endocrinologist, I spoke to a lot of my different team members about how to make this reality happen. And the craziest thing, it literally was like I had built a plan and a blueprint. And it's not like I didn't know that there could be emergencies or things could deviate from the plan, but everything just went exactly the way it was supposed to. So, I had requested to have a Foley for cervical ripening because I had a really difficult time with multiple prostans the last time around, and it ended up being ineffective. The Foley worked beautifully. It was in for like 25 minutes, and then it fell out, and I went to bed that night at home. I slept through the entire night. I got up, I came in the next morning, I was beautifully rested. Then when I got there, we broke my water and we started the oxytocin. And I had spoken to my endocrinologist, and he'd said, as long as you don't have an epidural, you can eat once more and you can dose yourself with your rapid insulin. And I spoke to my nurse, I spoke to the OB, and they were both like, we don't know about this. But here I was walking around my room, and they came in and they were like, "Oh, Anna, maybe you should get an epidural. Um, and if you're going to get an epidural, then no more eating. And, you know, if you get your epidural now, the anesthesiologist, he's going to be tied up for a couple hours in the OR. So it's probably a good idea just to get this ball rolling sooner than later." And I had this like very, again, strong intuitive vision for how this could go. And I was like, I really want to be able to walk and move with this IV pole to try to help my body get into labor. Last time I'd been stuck in a hospital bed for a really long time after I got my epidural, and there were a lot of consequences for me of that. I had a bunch of fluids on board. I had this, difficult experience where my breasts were really edematous afterwards. My milk was really slow to come in. And I just knew that we had learned things about my body from this experience. So lo and behold, everybody talked. Everybody decided they were okay with me having a small meal, having some insulin, continuing to walk with my pump. And it was amazing. The anesthesiologist showed up to give me my epidural just as my contractions were starting to get intense. And I was well fed. I ended up resting for a while, and then I had a baby, and it was actually the most sweet and beautiful end to this whole chapter of my life, and the difficult struggles that I've had with my pregnancies. And I can't even believe how lucky I am to have had this experience. And I've had a similar experience becoming a mom again. It's been so powerful for me because the last time around, I really struggled with thoughts of self-loathing, of hating who I was, of feeling insecure, of feeling scared, of feeling anxious, of feeling like my body had failed me in so many ways. And I had a very, very, very difficult time. In fact, I would say really I had a life-threatening experience with postpartum depression. And I have been very aware of the fact that many of these things could happen again for me. And I think instead of living in a place of constant fear of that, what I chose to do was focus on creating a reality, again, becoming the architect, right? Creating a reality that had as many different possible safety nets built in as there could be. Okay, so safety nets of friends, safety nets of having family members around, safety nets of having a postpartum doula who could help me get some sleep, safety nets of the way in which my husband and I decide to do the nights and the night feeds. There have been so many things in place to ensure that I continue to maintain my health, that I'm sitting here like legitimately having the best time of my entire life. Okay, I'm telling you, my life is awesome right now. Yeah, I have a small baby. Yeah, my sleep gets disturbed sometimes. Yeah, she's a little bit colicky and she has her moments, but I'm enjoying beautiful moments where I'm present with my children. I'm enjoying beautiful moments. Yes, I have 80 pounds of extra weight on my body, right? And there's lots of consequences that come with that. But I'm here, I'm present, I'm treating myself with love, respect. I have this safety net in place. I've reached out to all of my supports. It has been an absolutely extraordinary experience, and one that I'm able to sit here and be present in those small moments that we have with our children, right? Those moments where you're holding that baby who's the smallest they're ever going to be ever again, right? And you think about the number of things that you could be doing, the number of the laundry and the number of dishes that are piled up in your sink and all of these sorts of things. And I've noticed that what has changed for me is that I can regroup and I can come back to the now. And I think that for me, this is like a crucial life building moment for me in terms of what the next phase of my life looks like, right? This prompt in my journal just makes me think, we must recognize that we're the architect of our current reality, that we are creating what we have now before we can design the next phase. And it has become fun for me to play in the world of how amazing my life can become, of what can be next for me in my life. It has become exciting. It's become thrilling. It's opened up so many doors for me to things that I had no idea were even remotely possible for me in my life. So that's all I really had to share with you all today. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out and listening to our birth story and our story about the tender moments that we're enjoying. We are, because things have been going very well, and because I have this amazing team supporting me, and because I'm so focused on moving forward with ease, we have been able to settle upon a date for the next launch of our hybrid group coaching program for female physicians. So it is going to start June 8th. I am going to run another challenge. It's going to be a Creating Compassion for Female Doctors challenge in May. We're going to run it from May 25th to May 27th. So stay tuned for that. There'll be lots of details coming out. If you know anybody who you think might be interested in joining our program, or if you're not already on my email list, so if you didn't get an email from me this week, then you're not on my email list. If you're not and you want to be there, please hop over to my website, antifragilefmd.com, and just make sure you're on it, because that's where I send out all my announcements about special events, if I'm doing a talk, if anything's happening, and it's where I send out discounts. So there will be a discount code for Overcoming the Female MD, which again is our group program that's going to run starting June 8th. So anybody who's on our wait list for that program will be eligible for the discount code. So if you know people, if you're in this group and you think you might want to do it, you've never done one of my programs before, pop over there and get on the wait list. You'll get the discount code. Or if any of you who have done my programs before know anybody who might want to do it, please let them know to jump on the wait list, because they're not going to want to miss those codes. Okay, that's it. Have a lovely week and have a lovely weekend, I should say. And thanks for being here. Okay, take care. Love you all. Bye. Mwah.